Well, good morning, good morning. Yeah, it's 2:20 a.m. I just got back from listening to my son's band play a little bit ago, and I'm ready to do the video before I call it a day and go to sleep, or hopefully go to sleep anyway. The title today for this video is "We Are Not Defective, Merely Deceived." And the blurb that I wrote starts with another Bible verse, Romans 3:23, which I memorized as a boy. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. And I asked some questions. When did the newborn baby sin? If he or she has no knowledge of such a thing, how can it be held against him or her? How can any atonement be required? To me, all creation is at one. And religion is the lie that separation is real. That's bullshit. Oh, it feels real when living on a planet of the lie. We don't remember who we are. In that sense, we are lost. But we are not sinners, simply lost sheep in a foreign sheepfold. And the shepherds in that sheepfold have taken advantage of our memory lapse and created a planet of deception. When we awaken, we will restore Earth to its pristine beauty, as it was before the demons took over. Anastasia, the Russian recluse, saw this clearly, which is why I think those 9 books by Vladimir Megre are more important than the Bible. Will God ever wipe away the tears from our eyes? And more importantly, erase the scars from our psyche? If not, the deception is irreversible. If he is willing to finally reveal himself to us, we can still be healed, made whole. Then the world will be transformed. I have long believed in such a miracle, and now I am seeing the layers of deception that were falsely placed over me from the start of my life. The healing process is one of disillusionment, a feeling of disappointment akin to depression, arising from the realization that something is not what it was expected or believed to be, possibly accompanied by philosophical angst from one's beliefs challenged, from having one's beliefs challenged. Indeed, it's not just the Bible. Every holy book that exists has probably been tampered with. I don't think there's any of them that have not been tampered by the powers that came to be. The Bible was tampered with from the Old Testament times up until the New Testament times, up until it was translated into English by King James, of all people. And does it contain words from God? Absolutely. I have no doubt that it contains words from God, as do all the other holy books, whether it's the Quran or the Bhagavad Gita or some of the other books. I can't remember all the names right now, and I'm not even going to try. But God has spoken throughout history. But unfortunately, as I said, there's false shepherds that have taken over the sheepfold and fed us lies, till everything that we have been taught comes from what was taught before us, and it's passed on generation to generation. And I'm not even going to go into, is there reincarnation? I do believe that reincarnation exists, but it's meaningless if we don't have memory of what went before. It's a meaningless thing if you can't build on what was the past, the previous one or ones, the previous times, previous lives that you live. If you don't know about those, they are meaningless. They have no significance, no value in your present world. And that's why the deceivers have been able to feed a line of BS, which is bullshit, to humanity and put the stamp of religion all over it and create religions that fight with each other over which one's right. They all have elements of right, and they've all been doctored. So they all have elements of wrong as well. And I said about Anastasia, why do I think she, of all the books that have ever been written, why do I think the 9 books by Vladimir Megre are the most important and the most significant ones for us today in this present world? Simply because Anastasia did not get trained in any religion. She did not get trained in any political thing or any ideas. Her parents, as I've said before, were killed when she was just an infant. I don't even know if she was walking yet. She was maybe only crawling. I'm not sure. But her grandfather and her great-grandfather raised her in a very unusual way. They stood back and they watched her. They did not interfere and try to guide her. They didn't even try to protect her from the wild animals. They let her make friends with the wild animals. And she made friends with the wolves and the bears in Siberia, in Russia. And she knew God. She knew spirit. She knew truth because she wasn't brainwashed by some religion, which is, again, why I hold those 9 books in such esteem. Are they perfect? Absolutely not. But they offer insights that we need for the 21st century. And I highly encourage people to get those books so that we can get undeceived, or so that we can erase the deception and start realizing that God did not make us imperfect. God made us perfect. And the only reason we sinned was because a foreign element called Lucifer or demons or whatever you want to call it entered into the picture and muddied everything all up and started using religion to enslave people, started using money, actually, initially, because initially it was just these slave drivers. But the slaves didn't produce much, so they started paying the slaves, giving them the illusion of freedom. That's how it all started, according to Anastasia. And I resonate with that. I've resonated with that ever since I read it back in 2005. Yes, it's that long ago that I read the first 4 books. And then I read 5 and 6. And then I read the first 4 books in 4 days, then 5 and 6 in 2 more days, and then 7, 8, and 9 one at a time as they came. In any case, we need, if we're going to change the world and keep it from being destroyed, we're going to have some kind of a revolutionary revival of the human spirit. We're going to have to jettison all of the false beliefs and the deceptions that have been fed to us that made us think that we were less than what we were created to be. If we were allowed to be what we were created to be, we would walk with God, we would know God, we wouldn't need religion, we wouldn't need a lot of the things that we have now, because there would be cooperation, not only men and women with each other, but men and women with nature. Nature would serve humanity, just as it did in Anastasia's life. And if I could only get that message across to people and wake you up so that you would explore, so that you would become curious as to why the world is in the mess that it's in. Yeah, it's a healing process. I have to let go of my disillusionment. I have to let go of the deception that I have allowed myself to believe. Maybe I'm deceived that I'm some special, I have some special ministry, although I've believed that my whole life. Nobody taught that to me. I wasn't told about that till I was 18 years old, but I already knew about it when I was at least 10 years before that, maybe more than 10 years before that. I already knew that I had a spiritual purpose. Anyway, I'd like nothing better than for people to start questioning. That's what I have to be doing now with why me, God? Why am I in this situation? I have to be willing to explore. And that's what I'm encouraging each of you to do. Thank you for listening and considering what I've said. Namaste.